Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the Wrestle Addict Radio Network.
Hey, what's up, you guys?
What is going on, everybody?
What up, fam?
Hey, it's me.
What up, Oozes?
What's up, guys? This is the Monday Night Delight.
Are you looking for a network that brings you all things pro wrestling? Then look no further. Wrestle Addict Radio brings you a varied source of wrestling content.
What's going on, guys? This is Willie T.
My name is Mr. Fretz.
This is your resident Smart Slayer.
Search for Wrestle Addict Radio on all major podcast platforms and be sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode.
Buzz, guys. My name is Kate Murphy of the Kings of the Ring podcast, and you are listening.
And you're listening. And you're listening.
And you are listening.
And you are listening.
Get ready for a war, because you're listening.
Come join the war each and every week as we fight to keep wrestling real.
What's up, everybody? This is King Ricky Rose, and you are listening to Wrestle Addict Radio.
I'm Wild. And I'm Randy Fitzsimmons, and this is the Game Changer Podcast. Pew, pew, pew.
You know, I hate technology, and we'll talk about that why in just a minute, you guys. Welcome to the Game Changer Podcast, a part of Wrestle Addict Radio. Welcome. I am indeed the Chris Jericho of the Wrestle Addict Radio. I'm being joined here by the Kevin Owens, the Kevin Steen, whatever you'd like to call him. He is indeed Mr. Fretz.
Except I don't parlez-vous français, tabernacle. Yes, this is me, Mr. Fretz, Mr. F-R-E-T-Z, the Prime Minister of Wrestle Addict Radio, with half a back and half of a good shoulder here. Yeah, it's been a shitty week, but every new day is a blessing, and I am totally not saying this for the second time, and totally not telling us once again that I am drinking a Stranger Than Fiction Porter beer from Collective Arts Brewing in Hamilton, Ontario, home of Breakdown 1998, where Christian debuted. Yes, this beer can has the one, the only Hall of Famer George the Animal Steele on it. I totally bought more than one when I saw that at the liquor store. Yeah, it's got the legendary JF on Twitter and Instagram, and yeah, you know, socials, blah blah. Yeah, I'm hurting, bro.
Yeah, no, I'm hurting too in more ways than none now. Because the sole fact is that this is our second time recording this deal. Because as we were recording the first time around, we unfortunately got cut off. This is one of those situations where it was like, what just happened? Everything just stopped recording. Everything's just going crazy. So we're basically going to try and do a quick recap of what we were talking about in the first 12 minutes and like the next 3 minutes, honestly. Before we get into talking about wrestling, we talked about the wonderful news that Johnny Nitro, John Morrison is back in WWE. Looking forward to seeing that. Well, I'll be looking forward to seeing as much as I can. Honestly, I'm hoping John Morrison just goes right to NXT. I do not see him doing that well in the main roster. I mean, we had high hopes when Shelton Benjamin came back, but what ended up happening? Yeah, Shelton who? Exactly. We welcomed Bartholomew Kit Hardy into the world because of the fact that the Hardys are welcoming their third child into the world here. It's absolutely awesome. Also mentioned the Masters of the Multiverse. I got the chance to finish it up. And honestly, you guys, if you want to see great comedy, if you want to just see some really fun, silly stuff, but also some very compelling content, definitely check out the Masters of the Universe series on YouTube. It's a lot of fun. It features Allie and Rosemary. It also features Allison Kay, Andrew Everett, Officer Mickey. Oh my gosh, I love Officer Mickey. I'm sorry, I'm fanboying for him right now because he's so hilarious. It's just a really great series. I definitely cannot recommend it any more than I am right now. And I hope that they appreciate the little cheap shout out. And honestly, there is going to be a mention of Allie later on in the show, so You'll find out why. But, okay, I think we're all caught up right now. Only took me about 2 minutes and 4 or 5 seconds. Okay, so we were actually getting into talking about NXT and AEW. And now, obviously, I think that it's only fair that Mr. Fretz takes care of the NXT side, because honestly, you had quite the bit of the show to cover, Mr. Fretz. It is something to behold, and it does, as you kind of mentioned before we got cut off by the random malfunction, it is literally the meme lord show, just because of one man, that being Keith Lee. But we'll get into that in just a bit. Mr. Fretz, what went on in NXT this past week?
I mean, it was a very good show. I watched both yesterday, so I can definitely chat about each one here. But it's, we started off the event hot. The take two. Mauro Ranallo came back after his 1 week hiatus with, I don't know if it was a mental health day or whatever it was, but there was
hashtag
a nice
blame Corey Graves.
Yeah, let's not go there. I'm not up for talking about that right now. He's a piece of shit. Anyways, yeah, Mauro came back. He opened the show, and we immediately went into the ring. And there was a nice little bit on. You saw it on Twitter. If you didn't see on Twitter, not only did Cultaholics Tom Campbell, the international treasure he is, him and I think it was Sam Driver, they were doing this bit about Keith Lee, and it was a song. Don't forget. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna get killed for it. It's British like to sing chant, and there's this like, don't forget about Keith Lee. I forget what the song was. It's a rock and roll song. Don't forget about something. I forget.
Don't you forget about Keith. I don't know. Just
don't you forget. Thank you. Don't you forget about Keith. And it got the crowd singing it. Like
that's awesome.
I love Tom Campbell so much. And not only is he a gem, like online and on his socials, but he's such a sweet man. On like he replies to people who are, having a rough go, and he'll shoot the shit with you online. He's really neat, really nice. I love that he's a part of the Cultaholic show. Him and Matthew, my gosh. So, anyways, we started off. Killian Dane was in the ring, and he was calling out someone for a fight. It wasn't answered by Finley, but we had, Mr. Damian Priest had the week off. I guess he was still selling or legitimately being injured. So he's like, my name is Killian, and I love to fight. I mean, no, we had Killian Dane versus Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne answers the call. He comes right out to the ring, and they just have a stiff physical war throughout the match. We saw Pete Dunne was selling a knee injury that was still heavily taped, probably from TakeOver weekend. Mm-hmm. And we had Pete Dunne and Dame battling on the top rope, and the Bruiserweight managed to lock him in a sleeper, but Killian Dane fell backwards off the middle rope with Dane, attached to him with the Dolph Ziggler sleeper hold, and that was the pinfall. Quick victory for Killian Dane, and I think it's going to help move their feud forward. And we haven't seen the last of the triad of Priest, Dane, and Dunne. I mean, they put on one of the best triple threat matches I've seen in a long time. Great opener.
Yeah, no, definitely. I got a chance to watch that earlier today, and that opening match up there, just having Killian Dane come out and say, I want to fight. Here comes Pete, who's like, I'm always up for a fight. Let's go. The chance of shave your back by the NXT crowd. And didn't you make a comment about Killian Dane's back hair?
Well, I mean, this also dates back to Miguel Perez from Los Boricuas in 1997. Oh, if you remember that one, take a shot. If having a hairy back is enough to get you heel heat, then I could be the biggest heel NXT has ever seen. Mr. Fretz is about to make his debut, but there is kind of a reason. I mean, not only in the Fretz family does your hair fall off your head and onto your back by the time you're my age, but when they gave me my surgery and, cut my back open, they had, when you ever get surgery anywhere up here or down there, they shave you.
Right.
Like if you have, the cardiac catheterization where they go put a tube up your, and go right to your heart, they shave your bathing suit area. But they shaved my back. Even though when I was 15, I barely had any body hair. And so, it's that line from Wayne's World, oh, yeah, by the way, this year Garth finally got pubes. You didn't pin them about the pubes, did you? No! Wink. They had to do it because it's the way they do surgery. And ever since then, it's just been a chia pet back there. So they would shave your back at me. I'm surprised I don't get it at the beach. And I live on one.
Oh,
and that's why I never go in the water, but also because I work a lot.
Fair enough. So, I like you said, it's a really good matchup to kind of start off. Continues the feud between Killian Dane and Pete Dunne. I like the chemistry here, and I like the brutality that Killian Dane delivers. It's just absolutely awesome. It was just a great matchup to start off the show, and yeah, the momentum kind of rolls into the next segment, which I believe, if I am not mistaken, was this the Undisputed Era segment?
Not quite. What I have here on CBS is Dakota Kai.
Oh, that's right. Right. Wait, no, that's not. Well, I think there was like a promo for Dakota Kai, right?
It was just an interview backstage. I'm going through the whole thing before I forget.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
Yeah, Undisputed Era is probably in here anywhere, but CBSSports.com, I guess, doesn't mention it. I just went. Yeah, here we go. Dakota Kai interview with Kathy Kelly. Dakota's basically saying that Tegan Knox is not worth her time, and something about her attitude change. She claimed that she merely gave Rhea Ripley, her scheduled opponent on Wednesday night, what she wanted by letting her be the savior of War Games, and tonight she'll take her out just like she did that hood rat, whatever that means, Mia Yim. And then next we have something to do with, here's where the Undisputed Era comes in.
Okay. Yeah, so the Undisputed Era, they come out, they are just, flaunting their belts. They are down one member, unfortunately, because Bobby Fish, I believe, is working. Well, actually, I think he is injured. God, poor Bobby Fish. This guy does not deserve the amount of injuries that he's been receiving over the last, I want to say, year at least. He's probably been injured at least once or twice.
At least 2 years.
Oh my gosh, Bobby Fish. Best luck to you, man. Hopefully you recover fast and just come back stronger than ever. But yeah, they basically come out and said, hey, we are the reason why NXT won. We invaded Raw. We invaded SmackDown. We won at Survivor Series and blah, blah, blah. And then out comes, oh, bask in the glory, Mr. Keith Lee. He comes out and Undisputed Era, they poke jabs at him. They even mentioned the fact that, he lost to Roman Reigns, to which I'm listening to this and I'm just like, okay, to be fair, yes, he lost to Roman Reigns, but at the same time, he also got major props from Roman Reigns. So, suck on that, Undisputed Era. I'm sorry, but and I love how Keith Lee is just kind of staring at everybody like, I'm just trying to decide which belt I want to take off you first. Just literally I'm going to go for everybody's belt. It's like, oh, Keith Lee's one of those guys. I'm okay with this. Keith Lee has all the belts. Can we make this a hashtag now? Yeah, Undisputed Era, they try to get the jump on him. Keith Lee is able to kind of do a pretty good job of fighting back. But then out comes Tommaso Ciampa to take down Adam Cole. Baby. It looks like he's going to get set up for the Spirit Bomb, but Adam Cole is able to escape with Roderick Strong and Mr. Kyle O'Reilly. This was a really good segment, in all honesty. It definitely gets a little bit of the heat from the Undisputed Era, but it also establishes what the main event is going to be. It's a 6-man tag, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be the Undisputed Era taking on Keith Lee, Tommaso Ciampa, and a partner of their choice, which, I'm going to tell you this right now, spoiler alert, it's somebody that Keith Lee knows very, very well. It is pretty... Okay, it's Dominic Dijakovic. They don't spoil it really too much. I think it's like halfway through the show, they're just like, oh, we got a partner, and here's Dominic. It's like, yep, I'm okay with this. I'm totally okay with this. These guys we're literally trying to kill each other. They're like public enemy in ECW. It's like, these guys beat the shit out of each other for a while. Let's put these guys as a tag team and see what happened. And honestly, Keith Lee and Dominic, not a bad tag team. Anyway, I'm getting too off topic here. What was the next matchup, Mr. Fretz?
Bro, you totally missed the opportunity to say that their tag team partner is someone you should feast your eyes on.
Oh, damn it. You're right.
And then Adam Cole said that Undisputed Era had a November to Remember. Yeah. All the Bask in His Glory chants, and then there was Kyle O'Reilly taunted Keith for being nothing more than a moment maker, or say a GIF maker.
How could I forget this deal here? Because everybody was tweeting at me. You were tweeting me this. Dave was tweeting me this. King of the Rings were tweeting me this. They were saying, "Oh, Keith Lee said game changer. Nate, do you approve?" And I'm literally like, you know what? After the weekend he had, it's full on approval. I don't care.
Yeah, it's now being part of the Game Changer podcast, I'm just like, I could probably approve for you, but it's freaking Keith Lee, of course. And it's not like we're the only Game Changer podcast.
Well, true.
Dude, I tried searching for you before I joined here. I couldn't find you on iTunes.
Well,
but now we do. Yes. But yeah, moving on, before I go back into my unaired brain impersonation, Shayna Baszler wrestled Xia Li. Xia Li cut a little promo beforehand. I forget what it was, because I was drifting in and out. I was like either making something to eat, or I was playing Pokemon Sword, which I'm at the very tail end of, and I'll beat after tonight. Woohoo! Yeah, Baszler and Xia Li had a good non-title match, but Shayna Baszler just Kirifuda clutch, boom, over. Basically a squash. Xia Li got a couple of nice spots in, but we had Did Rhea Ripley come out after? Oh no, never mind. Rhea Ripley came out after, because we have a match here. There's a tag team. I just have to say this. This is a tag team I'm not sure you're familiar with, but Kings of the Rings. I immediately saw this and tweeted Ricky, Will, and Kate. But Evolve's the Skulk were tagging up against Forgotten Sons. I'm like, oh man, I've heard. I've only seen Evolve's was it anniversary show that was on the network, which was amazing. Josh Briggs. I can't wait for him to come in. He'll be coming to NXT in the next 5 years, I think. I can't wait. I'm big on Josh Briggs. I think he's the current Evolve champion, if I'm not mistaken, because they signed. Who was the guy that was in the crowd in Toronto? And he said he was from Evolve, and they signed him. If you don't remember his name, do you?
I legit do not.
Okay, but yeah, Evolve. It's a indie show up in New York. I think it's basically kind of the feeding ground for NXT now, in a way. But yeah, they tagged up and got squashed by the Forgotten Sons. But I had to shout out the Kings for that because I knew they'd mark out for the Skulk.
I mean, honestly, it was kind of a match I've just forgotten myself. It was literally like, okay, the Forgotten Sons are here. Well,
forget
what
them.
What else is new? I mean, I'm sorry. I was a big fan of Gunner when he was in TNA. But what they're doing with him in NXT, I'm just like, well, I mean, this is kind of what we would expect of most of these things. I mean, some people go from TNA to WWE, they can be pretty successful, like AJ Styles. Or I would have almost said Samoa Joe had they not screwed him so many times. I would say Bobby Roode had they not screwed him so many times. I would say R-Truth had they not screwed him so many times and made him a laughingstock. I would say so many other people, but they screwed them so many times. You see a pattern here, ladies and gentlemen, and this is where Salty Nate comes out. This is where Salty Nate comes out, and I'm going to just continue being salty if we keep talking about this. Anyway, sorry, what were we talking about again?
The Forgotten. I forgot what we were talking about. Oh, the Forgotten. Right, the Forgotten Son.
Yeah.
Isn't it ironic? It's like, right? Okay, stop, James. Forgotten Son squashed the Skulk. It was really neat to see these guys make an appearance on NXT. When I tweeted the Kings, they marked out. Damn it! I should have told Dusty about this too, because Dusty Dave goes to Evolve shows with them as well. Shout out to him as well.
Steve.
Yeah, it was cool to see him get it, but they squashed him with that. Was it that reverse DDT and stomp move? Do you remember Wesley Blake is a former NXT Tag Team Champion?
Yeah, with Buddy Murphy. I remember that team being so forgettable. The only thing that was good about it was Alexa Bliss and every single outfit she had coming out.
Yep, the whole from Harley Quinn to basically just anything to do with Harley Quinn. And when Blue Pants beat the crap out of her at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 1, we saw a personal low-key favorite tag team of mine from back in the day being 5 years ago, the Vaudevillains.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Vaudevillains. I kind of miss those guys, I really do. And honestly, I could listen to Simon Grimm's burial of Enzo every single time, and I will enjoy every single minute of it, because
absolutely.
I hate Enzo. B, Simon Gray is awesome, especially with the mustache. C, why is he not a part of Mustache Mountain with, Tyler Bate and Trent Seven? Why is that not a thing? Could make a mustache dynasty, damn it. I'm just... Okay, Salty Nate. Hashtag Salty Nate. It's over.
Mount Stashmore.
Oh, Mount Stashmore. Oh.
Mount Stashmore. Oh my gosh, I just did a thing. There's a new hashtag.
Mount Stashmore. That is awesome. Honestly,
and if we... Go on. Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, you need to tell it to Danny. You need to tell her that, because I think she would enjoy that immensely.
I'm in a group chat with Danny, and I'm pretty sure Nikki isn't pissed at me anymore. She's probably got over it by now. I'll definitely have to pop that in our group. It's funny. It's just like, it's me, Slack, Nikki, Danny, and I think Danny's significant other or friend. We're all in this random Canada group. It's fun. Mount Stashmore, and if I have to put anyone up there besides wrestlers, I can even go into hockey players. Like Philly people. Scott Rand, this one's for you. I tweeted this to you when I was back home, but Rick McLeish, former Philadelphia Flyer, was from my hometown, and he had the most glorious stash in NHL history, other than George Peros. Hockey fans, hit me up. You'll know what I'm talking about.
All right, enough talking about stashes. We got to talk more about NXT. I believe this one is where we get Rhea Ripley versus the new versus nobody. Okay, I want to say this right now before we get too deep into this. The Dakota Kai entrance theme song, I really dig, because literally it's just music and Tegan Nox screaming in the background. It is literally one of those things where I'm like, this is new. Okay, I never thought I'd see it. It's literally just her Titantron is showing Dakota Kai just literally just slaughtering Tegan Nox, and you just hear the screams, and out comes Dakota Kai with the leg brace. I'm literally just looking at this like, okay, this is new. This is interesting. I kind of am digging this, actually. But Dakota Kai comes out. Rhea Ripley, she comes out, and she's like, oh, well, that was just a great job. That was a great setup. Except for this one. And literally, she sets her up for a Mia Yim beatdown. Oh, was this beautiful. I literally watched this, and I'm just like, yes! Mia Yim is getting her advantage. Dakota Kai, you're going to die. And she basically does. I think it was after the... I'm trying to remember what it was. There was the boot. There's the haluva kick into the corner, and it's literally like, okay, Dakota Kai's over. Rhea's like, nope, back into the slaughterhouse with you. And we see more fighting. We see more of Mia Yim just killing Dakota Kai. I like this. Is this going to be a takeover match? No, it's going to happen in NXT in 2 weeks. Trust me, it's going to happen in 2 weeks. I can feel it. That's not the only match that's going to be happening in 2 weeks, because as Rhea Ripley is watching this chaos unfold, out comes the Horsewoman. Shayna Baszler and her two stooges, whatever their names are. I don't care anymore. They are just so forgettable at this point. I'm sorry. I just do not care.
The Forgotten Daughters.
Oh, there we go. That would be awesome, actually. Shayna and the two Forgotten Daughters, they beat down a bit on Rhea. Rhea fights her off just a bit. We see Rhea get locked into the choke. And I will say this was actually a pretty brilliant idea to have Rhea Ripley against the rope. She's got the chokehold put on her, and the two Forgotten Daughters have Rhea's arms stretch out where she cannot do anything. She's literally helpless. And I'm literally looking at this like, okay, this would be a pretty awesome thing to do if she was fighting like Awesome Kong or something like that. I would be totally for this. We see just, Rhea getting choked out, and then Shayna Baszler is just like, I hear you want a title match. What makes you think you deserve a title match? Well, guess what? I want a title match too. And December 18th, you're going to get it. So we got a championship match made for that. It's going to be Rhea Ripley challenging Shayna Baszler for the NXT Women's Championship. Please title change, please title change, please title change, please title change. That's just me, though. This was a pretty good segment, though. I liked what they did with Rhea Ripley. I liked that Mia Yim got her, comeuppance on Dakota Kai, and we're going to get a match between the two of them. And later on down the line, probably at a TakeOver, we're going to see Tegan Nox kill Dakota Kai. Because of reasons. Yay! Oh my gosh, yep.
Take it, Clark. Yeah, I was watching that. I love that movie. I watch it like 8 times at Christmas. Yeah, I really like the storytelling in this segment where it was like Rhea Ripley was fighting like she's an unstoppable badass bitch, or no. Mia Yim is the HBIC. What does HBIC stand for?
I don't know.
In charge or something. I think it's head bitch in charge. Kate, can you tell me what it is? Because you call yourself the HBIC of Wrestle Addict Radio. Hit me up, please. Tell me, or I'll Google it on break. Shout out, Kate. Love you. Will, I'm not moving into their territory. It's just sisterly love. Okay, Will, don't kill me.
That's sisterly love. Jesus.
It's like when you get okay, this is church terminology here, folks, but when you get brother in Christ friend zoned, if you know what that is, you can hit me up. It's awkward as hell. Speaking of awkward as hell, me. This is going far off the rails. I got to stop drinking when I do this show. Yeah, the storytelling here with everyone involved was amazing. Like, Rhea Ripley was fighting so hard to Nate's dead. Was fighting so hard to get out of the choke because she's supposed to be this badass, right? And eventually she succumbed. And then there you go. We got the title match on. I'm just going to call this TakeOver Christmas because it's literally the week before Christmas.
I'm okay with that. I'm totally fine with this. Man. Is this where we get the Balor promo? Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Honestly, I like it because, again, it's adding another layer to Finn Balor. That's all. That's the best way I can sum up this promo. So, I got nothing more to say than that.
Checkmate. That's what he's. Yeah, that's what he said. Checkmate. And I was just. Yeah, never mind. I was going to go into another stupid reference that I have to stop doing. Finn Balor just continued being a badass and being on his own. Like, I walk alone. He might as well be Batista going on a hot date with Dana Brooke, lucky bastard.
Also, that is better than anything on WWE television, as well as all 3 Fifty Shades movies combined, is the Dana Brooke and Batista Twitter deal.
Twilight.
There we go. It's the best thing going right now. And honestly, it is kind of funny that I don't know if they've really commented on this, but every single time when you hear, I want to say it's like every member of the Valkyrie or even Kate Murphy, whenever they keep saying the phrase, daddy or something like that, we are so used to it at this point that Batista saying daddy to Dana Brooke is like, you know what, this is a word we are just we've accepted at this point. Literally, no man, woman, or child can say "daddy" and make us cringe. In all honesty, it's that suck in our mind. Anyway, getting back to this show. I think we got the original Bro battling
Bro.
Mr. Oh no, he's on TV, Cassius Ohno. Can we say that near the end was basically a slaughter for Mr. Ohno?
Oh, yes. Yeah, I was intrigued. I like Cassius Ohno's little promo at the beginning. He called himself the Wrestling Genius. Lanny Poffo would like a word with you. Yeah, you saw my tweet. Lanny Poffo, I can think of other wrestling geniuses here, but no. It was just like last year. Remember this time last year when Matt Riddle made his debut at TakeOver War Games 2, and it was literally one final flash, boom, over. And then it was Bro Derek, which I just recently got. I'm like, why the hell is this move called the Bro Derek? But Bro Derek, my goodness, I'm stupid. Oh, yeah, it was another classic, and they were talking about Matt Riddle having a streak, like a Goldberg-esque streak, although they didn't say Goldberg. But he's 4-0 against Cassius Ohno, so Riddle.
He's riddling up the wins. What can we say?
Oh, God.
The next matchup on here, ladies and gentlemen, is the 6-man tag, Undisputed Era, Dominic, Keith, and Tommaso Ciampa. Daddy
Missed one, buddy. You missed one.
What did I miss?
Kushida versus Cameron Grimes.
Oh, I'm such an idiot because I had... Mr. Back to the Future against one of the best things in TNA's X Division. How can I forget this? Mr. Fretz, please. Finish up the show while I go sulk in a corner.
Okay, so Kushida making his return since his wrist injury against Walter. He was going to take on Raul Mendoza, but as Raul was coming out on the stage doing his taunt, Cameron Grimes came in and literally caved him in. And then we saw a really good, nice, stiff match. Kushida reversed a Everest German suplex attempt into a roll-up pinfall. So if we're going to see more of Cameron Grimes versus Kushida, oh man, I'm all for it. These are two stiff mofos. I'm loving it.
Yeah, it was awesome. Oh, I'm supposed to be in my corner. I'm sorry.
No, take the 6-man, bro. I'll shut up and finish this beer.
All right. So 6-man tag team matchup. Said before, you already know who's involved with this. We see a lot of great action. A bit of a ref bump here, which I thought was kind of creative, where Finn Balor decides, hey, I'm going to get involved here. Hits Adam Cole from behind. Adam Cole hits the referee, boom. It looks like Finn Balor's going to wreck everybody's shit. Oh, but the memes, those dreaded memes, and especially when Keith Lee is there. Finn Balor is just getting him set up in the corner. He's going for the 2-gun taunt. Keith Lee just slowly pops up like the Fiend. And Finn's just like, wait, and Keith Lee just decides to just beat the ever-living piss out of Finn Balor. And then we see Adam Cole try to take the advantage, but nope, Keith Lee decides, here we go, boom, beat you with his own version of the jackhammer. 1, 2, 3. Keith Lee has pinned Adam Cole, baby. And Regal does it the only way Regal can do it. Announces that it will be it'll be next week. A #1 contenders match between Finn Balor, Tommaso Ciampa, and Keith Lee in a triple threat match. Oh boy howdy. Please just take all my money and I will even give you a part of my soul, thank you very much. Because this is going to be awesome. Shall we bask in the glory? Shall we feel the prince cometh? Or is Daddy Ciampa on the road to reclaiming Goldie? We're going to find that out next week, you guys. Oh, that's going to be good. NXT, you just know how to treat me to a very beautiful massage with a happy ending.
TMI, bro.
Hey,
but I could totally go for that right now, especially with my back. Oh my god. This match was just awesome. The memes, the tweets, the WWE being like caption this, and it's like, you know, like, hey, when you fart, when you think the coast is clear, or when you shoot your shot and your boyfriend's right there, or, you know, the classic creepy Twitter guy being like trying to shoot your shot with you know what to you know what. All the memes, man. All the memes. Keith Lee is a gift lord. And I think he is going to win this triple threat match. He will fall short against Adam Cole, baby. I said Ciampa's winning it at Mania Takeover. It has to happen in Tampa.
In all honesty, I could see that very much happening. But guys, we will discuss that more later on during the time as they get closer to the Pirate Ship WrestleMania. We will talk about that later. For right now, we're going to take a little quick commercial break. When we come back, it's time for us to go all elite, especially when it comes to our wrestling. Stay tuned, guys. We'll be right back.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is King Ricky Rose, your co-general manager of Wrestle Addict Radio and your host of Kings of the Rings podcast. And if you enjoy what you listen to each and every week here on Wrestle Addict Radio, we invite you to enjoy even more content from us on our exclusive Patreon page, where for just $5 a month, that's right, $5 a month, you get bonus content and commentary from each and every show here on Wrestle Addict Radio. That means bonus content from the Kings of the Rings podcast, from Not Your Mama's Soap Opera, from Fourth Wall WrestleCast, from the Get the Podcast, and from the Game Changer WrestleCast. So for $5 a month, go to patreon.com/Wrestle Addict Radio, sign up. You get exclusive content, exclusive access to us pretty much 24/7, and exclusive shows that can only be found and are exclusive to Patreon. So again, folks, patreon.com/Wrestle Addict Radio, $5 a month, all the content that you could ever want in wrestling. Enjoy.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Coda Jacobs, the Crusader and visionary behind a brighter future in wrestling. If you're an honorable and noble public servant like myself, you are listening to the Game Changer podcast.
Come on! You know I got ya! Yeah! One! Break the wall! Break down the walls! For those about to rock and what you want, baby, you know you're Judas and I'm your priest. Baby, what I got is not from the least. Bring it to the stage in the rage of the beast. Step in the arena and break the wall down. Step in the arena and break the wall down. Now you know, coming on down, Jericho.
Welcome to War is Greatness! Welcome back to this episode of the Game Changer, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure to give us a follow on our Twitter at Addict_Wrestle, myself at RealFNGame, Mr. Fretz at LegendaryJF. And be sure to also check out all of our great people, and I'm going to keep shouting these people out, even if they're not a part of us, I'm still going to shout them out. The Gifted Podcast, the Kings of the Rings podcast, the Not Your Mama's Soap Opera podcast, which had their final show a few weeks ago, so definitely check that out. We have the Fourth Wall WrestleCast, as well as the Kings of the Rings podcast. All right, Mr. Fretz, let's talk All Elite. All Elite Wrestling, in which, honestly, I quite enjoyed their show. We kicked it off with a 6-man tag team match, which is kind of like backwards from what they did with with NXT, whatever. We had Dustin and the Bucks taking on the Inner Circle of Santana, Garrett, and Sammy Guevara, who apparently everybody really hates, but I can't understand any reason why you hate Sammy Guevara, even though he tried to steal my belt, the bastard. This was honestly a pretty good matchup to start off the show, and I actually legitimately loved the finish, where we see two tombstone attempts. We see Sammy Guevara on the floor. Oh wait, before I even get into that, he attempts a shooting star press and eats a super kick. That was beautiful. So Sammy Guevara is on the ground. We see two guys locked in the tombstone, and here comes one of the Young Bucks. Decides to kill Sammy Guevara and also just wreck Santana Ortiz. With that, they pick up the victory, and we find out next week that Santana Ortiz will be taking on the Bucks in a street fight. Oh, Lord help us. That is going to be awesome.
Yeah, that was great. Dustin Rhodes hitting a Canadian Destroyer in this match. I mean, my goodness, this guy's amazing. DDP Yoga saves lives, bro. Oh man, I should look a bit into that. Shout out to our friend G-Rod, who's been going through DDP Yoga, and he's kicking ass. He's looking good. The inner circle here. I was drifting in and out of these shows. I love that Goldust. My goodness, Dust. I'm gonna call him Goldust from time to time just because Dustin hits that snap power slam, which he called the shock treatment, when he had that whole that stupid Tourette's gimmick. He called his that was bad. I had a cousin who had it really, really bad, so not cool. He acted gassed after like 2 moves, and it caught LAX off guard, and I thought it was really funny. Guevara is just he's a meme machine. That whole him and Jericho hugging thing has just been photoshopped into literally everything.
Oh my gosh. That's...
Like, from like Muhammad Ali knocking out Joe Frazier to The Lion King to everything ever. I can go on and on. You see a really nice looking 630 that I thought Sammy kind of shifted a little bit when he did it, so it kind of looked like Billy Kidman's shooting star press. What the hell was that shooting star press into nothing? What were you trying to do, Sammy? No one was on the ground. Were you trying to do a shooting star press lariat? Because that would look cool, but and I liked that. It was like a dual Meltzer driver and a like senton combo. Yeah, I thought it was a pretty neat match.
Yeah. All right. Next matchup on here was the one and only Phoenix taking on Trent. You could tell how much I love saying that. And honestly, pretty fast forward face matchup. We see Mr. Phoenix picking up the victory with the Blackfire Driver. Honestly, one of the most devastating moves since the Muscle Buster. It just gives me the chills. It's just a really brutal spot. I loved it, and yeah, Phoenix picks up the victory here. Orange Cassidy was there. I mean, honestly, do I really need to say anything else other than Orange Cassidy was there? Because you can just imagine what he was doing. Anything and everything.
By which you mean nothing, but sitting there with his hand in his pockets.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's fair.
Oh, Cassidy. I still haven't seen the turkey suit spot. I'm going to have to watch out for that. But yeah, Beretta's been someone I've been following since he was in WWECW. He went, I drifted in and out. He went for the Dude Buster. There was a nice tornado DDT, and man, ever since the Tyson Kidd incident, Muscle Buster just makes me cringe just a little bit. I know it was a freak accident, and the Muscle Buster is basically a fisherman suplex, but still, that Blackfire Driver is amazing.
Yes. All right, next up we have the promo from Cody Rhodes, where he basically is responding to the attack that took place between the Butcher, I'm trying to remember what the tag. Thank you, Blade, the Butcher, and the Bunny. All honesty, after I saw these guys, I was just like, who are these random dudes, and why is Ali a part of them? Then I watched their matches, and I'm like, oh my god, this is okay. They're adding depth to their tag team division. I'm okay with this. He basically addresses that, but then he also addresses MJF, and he basically talks about how MJF says, I'm not going to fight Cody Rhodes, and Cody says, everybody's got a price, what is yours? I'll give you, the keys to my car, I'll give you my watch on my wrist that was presented to me by Tony Khan. He even offered up to about $50,000 plus fight up against MJF so much, and he wanted to legitimize this money by giving $100 to a kid in the front row. The kid is literally like, what? I'm getting $100 just for being here? Okay, that's cool. He just has this reaction of like, did this really just happen? Am I really getting $100?
Excuse me.
Right. Yeah, so that basically was going on with that. Oh my gosh, and when Cody even threw his shoes into the deal, I'm just like, he wants MJF. He literally wants to kill MJF. And even referenced the botched Crossroads from last week. It was awesome. I thought that was hilarious when he addresses that kind of stuff. I love this segment. Loved it. But we also got another segment where basically Joey Janela is just talking about his match. Here comes Moxley. He's just like, kids, and walks away. John Moxley's a badass. Let's just say that right now.
John Moxley's a national treasure. And so is Cody. I mean, I like this a lot better than his, that one promo a couple of weeks ago that everyone was saying was the best ever. I thought it was really, really great. I like this one a lot better because I like a little comedy. I like a little levity in here, and I liked how he called him MJF a Bush League NWO Chris Jericho.
That's right.
who wears a fake scarf and says he'll offer up his Ford Black Ops, only 300 made, this watch from Tony Khan, those red bottom shoes, and I'm just like, Cody Rhodes is the new Ted DiBiase. Everybody has a price. I just immediately thought, yeah, I'm going to see him come out with $1 million title and he'll convert Soul Train Jones over to his side next week and have a bodyguard. Cody is really great, and this Blade, Butcher, and Bunny just reminds me out of something out of Goosebumps or like a kid's book. I love the dude with the monocle. I love the touch.
Oh my gosh, it is absolutely crazy just seeing that. And honestly, I will tell you this, that they actually incorporate this into the Masters of the Multiverse YouTube series, which I thought was brilliant. I'm like, oh shit, they incorporate. Okay, this is pretty awesome. I'm okay with this. But going from that, we get to Nyla Rose taking on Leva Bates, who I've gotten like so many likes for her just because of my tweets sent to her, where I literally was like, oh my god, Leva Bates is literally looking so sexy in her ring attire. And I think it's like the first time she's wrestled in... I think it's her first time wrestling at Dynamite. I could be wrong. I know that this is not first time for Nyla Rose, because the first episode featured Nyla Rose versus Rio, which was still a great matchup. This was literally just a squash where Bates just got absolutely destroyed. And it didn't stop there, because as this was going on, they decided to quote-unquote reenact the NXT TakeOver deal where Britt Baker's in the crowd, she's looking all shocked. The only thing that made it better was the random dude there that was just waving at the camera. I just saw that, and I'm just like, okay, they tried to reenact it, but they added something original. I give him credit for that. He wasn't even a part of the deal. I don't care. Take credit for that. Just say that dude is a plant and pay him just to make that better. But Nyla Rose grabs a table. She decides, hey, I'm just going to wreck everybody's shit. And she sends a ref through the table, and then she picks up Leva Bates and throws her on the referee. Oh my god, that was legit kind of freaky just to see that. I'm thinking, oh, that ref is dead. That ref is just dead. They later announced that Nyla Rose had been suspended for her conduct, and it is going to be without pay, which in all honesty, hey, they're showing that, hey, you do this, you're going to have consequences. Oh my god, they're actually doing logic. That's insane. I'm shocked. It's like common sense actually exists here.
Yeah, it's like one of my old bosses used to say, it's like, Fretz, common sense ain't so common. True, sir. True. I love the Dark Order vignette just before this. We saw that, that unhappy guy, the same one that was getting shit on and getting his glasses stomped on, and he's like, going to the outdoor satanic ritual ceremony in the graveyard, and he's just crying. He goes, "I just wanted friends." I'm looking at him and thinking, I can relate to you. This is so sad. And Grayson kicks him in the face, like, "Oh, dude, that was not cool."
Oh my god!
Yeah, I'm loving these Dark Order things. It's just straight out of the Stonecutters and the Movementarians from The Simpsons. Love it. Leva Bates is dead. So is Peter Avalon. They got the snot kicked out of them.
Oh my gosh! Leva Bates, you could do so much better. I'm available. This is, and just remember, just remember, I was the nice guy that got you a blue rose and kind of started off your day in the right way. I'm just saying. I'm not trying to blow smoke up your ass, even though it's a very nice. You know what? I'm gonna stop while I'm ahead. Stop while I'm ahead. Stop while I'm ahead.
Is this a PG? Wait, no, I've already sworn. This ain't a PG show. No, shoot your shot, Nate. Come on.
We dropped a couple F-bombs and S-bombs around here. There's no reason children should be listening to this show. We do like children, but we also do realize that this is adult talk sometimes. If they're mature enough to listen to this, hey, cool for them. If they're not, go into a corner. Timmy, go to the corner. Sally, go to that corner. You're not old enough yet.
David, Abby, Uncle Jamie said some bad words. Do not learn from him.
Don't learn from his friend Nate. He's a bit of a bastard. Damn it. Well, actually, this works out perfectly. Speaking of bastards, we're talking about the AEW World Champion, Chris Jericho. He talks about a little bit of the bubbly, how it basically sold like crazy. And again, it's for a limited time. You can get a little bit of the bubbly at littleBitOfTheBubbly.com. Definitely get it, you guys. And Jericho mentions that he's got to defend his title one more time before the year's over. Oh, woe is Jericho. He decides to bring out nope, not the list, but he calls it the, I'm trying to remember what it was called. The Lexicon of Le Champion. And it's amazing. It is absolutely amazing. He talks about, here are the people that who I'm not going to wrestle with. I'm not going to wrestle with the Bucks, Papa Buck, Mama Buck, blah, 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 Moxley, Hangman Page, DDP, Diamond Dallas Page, this Darby Allin. I'm reading this one report, and somebody puts down Alan Jones, and in parentheses they said, "Isn't that AJ Styles?" To which I'm like, oh, that's actually cool. That's actually kind of cool. Scorpio Sky, Too Cold Scorpio, Kenny Omega. He lists all these random names, and he mentions Moxley so many times. He is just about to say, Marco Stunt, out comes the Lucha Express. Luchasaurus, Jungle Boy, and Marco Stunt. They come out, they interrupt Jericho, and basically Jericho just says, "Oh, I'm not wrestling you, I'm not wrestling you." And he even takes a shot at Jungle Boy, calling him a piece of shit, to which I'm like, oh shit. Wow. And he even goes so far as to say that he wouldn't last 10 minutes in the ring with Chris Jericho. And Jungle Boy has this to say, that not only could he last 10 minutes, but he would kick his ass. Jurassic Express decided to beat down on Jake Hager. Oh yeah, I forgot he was involved in this somehow. Relevancy? Whatever. They beat him down, they beat Jericho down, and it seems like they've made that matchup official. It's going to be Jungle Boy versus Jericho for the AEW World Title. In all honesty, this could be a really breakout moment for Jungle Boy, because he's kind of the character that's there. Like Marco Stunt, he's got like his own character. Luchasaurus, he's got his own character. Jungle Boy, he's kind of like the background guy a little bit. So this is a great thing that they could be doing here, because same thing with Scorpio Sky. This is a guy who's kind of like in the background. He's kind of like the third man in, SCU. For me, I was just kind of looking at him like, oh, he's kind of like this, because I know Kazarian and I know Daniels a little bit more, and then we see Scorpio Sky. It's like, okay, this might be kind of interesting. Then I see the match with Jericho. Bravo, you are on the equal level in my view. Same thing could be said about Jungle Boy here, because he literally could be elevated to the next level. I'm looking forward to this matchup, and oh boy, I think it's going to last longer than 10 minutes, because we're not going to have a Sami Zayn Braun Strowman again. We just can't.
I totally forgot about that, and I like that little thing. I put together a little list. Calm down, it's not 2016. And you get Luchasaurus. He immediately started doing like the zombies. Hey, hang on, dude. Of course, Dino have a master's degree, and dinosaurs have been marginalized for 65 million years. After Luchasaurus's deal on Talk is Jericho, I've loved him, and although I'm not necessarily putting Enzo over, but him and Cass had a really good episode of Talk is Jericho recently as well. It's worth a listen, at least. I mean, we still hate Enzo. He's still basically canceled, but it's a good talk.
All right, fair enough. So the next matchup that took place here was one of the new signees, Chris Statlander, taking on Hikaru Shida. Now, Chris Statlander, she actually competed in a tag team match the previous week, and to be quite honest, she very well impressed me. It was one of those moments where it's like, okay, she could definitely be a great star. As soon as you find out, she got signed by AEW. I'm all for this. I'm totally for this. And this was a great way for her to debut on the roster against Hikaru Shida, who is the number one contender, arguably, judging by the rankings, for the AEW World's Women's title. Again, I love that they call it that because it's a very more meaningful title now. This is a great matchup between these two, and oh god, that Cradle Tombstone. Big Bang Theory, my god, that just, makes me just every sorts of happy. Statlander picks up the victory. She beats the number one contender in her first matchup. That's stating a lot. And now people can finally stop bitching about the fact that, what has Allie done? Why is she on the top 5? Now we got somebody else on there. Just shut up. Stop your whining.
I actually didn't watch this match.
Really?
I think I saw afterwards there was a post-match promo with Brandy and Awesome Kong, and there was this a plant in the crowd who, according to my thing here, says Melanie Cruz, a wrestler from Chicago, is in her pledge. I don't know, this is the New Straight Edge Society, or
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, where's what's her face, the bald chick?
Serena.
Serena Deeb, that's right. Yeah, bring her in for a pledge. She'll do it again.
Fair enough. That's fair enough. Oh, man. So, next matchup we have on here is the Fallen Angel Christopher Daniels taking on Pentagon Jr. I always call him Pentagon Dark because of obvious reasons. Because of the underground area that made him a star. I'm sorry, but it's awesome. Another pretty good matchup between these two. Pentagon Jr. deciding to finish him off with the Fear Factor. Honestly, it was one of those matches where it's like, okay, we're actually going to have some fun with this. I totally am okay with this. I'm also okay with the fact that literally Pentagon does the Canadian Destroyer, but he calls it the Mexican Destroyer. It's like, okay, he hits it. I'm not going to say he does it better than Petey Williams, because Petey Williams is the fucking man. I'm going to say that when it comes to that Canadian Destroyer. Pentagon is definitely up there in the top 5, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the greatest moves I can think of, but it's now becoming a bit of a setup move. Like I said before, Adam Cole's Panama Sunrise should be a finisher.
Definitely. Yep, we get that the Butcher and the Blade vignette with Allie, where they're sick and tired of seeing Cody's face everywhere, and they're in his house to cause pain. And she has this line where she says, "We're here to cut the head off the snake." To which I'm like, damn, Bunny's got some cojones. I'm totally scared now, because I've seen the side of Allie. I've seen a bit of the Courtney, the Cherry Bomb side, which is literally one of those things like, okay. And now this new side where literally she's just going to the dark side. I'm like, I am scared. I might actually have what is known by very few as the fear boner, where it's like I'm scared, but it's also kind of hot. I'm sorry. It's just
I know exactly what you mean. I'm thinking like, what persuaded Allie to Su Yung? Ever since she had that feud with Su Yung, I mean, she's kind of like the female version of the Fiend. How even like the Miz was referencing with Daniel Bryan as of late. It's like the Fiend changes people, and what did I say? I said that like after friggin' Finn Balor's heel turn, and now Seth Rollins is. But it's like, yeah, maybe Su Yung changes people too. Like, where's Rosemary? I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing her wind up in All Elite. Or is she on Power?
She is in. No, she is still in Impact Wrestling right now. I know that Melina went to Power along with Thunder Rosa. I'm trying to think of who else. Well, Allison Kay, I believe, is their women's champion.
Yes.
Gosh, I think is Holly Dead there too? I'm not 100% sure. We're getting too off topic here. So we get to the main event: Joey Janela versus Mr. Jon Moxley, because we need this. Paradigm Shift takes down Joey Janela. Joey Janela, who continues to be that guy who makes people, but can't quite get that big victory yet. I think that he's definitely going to get that big victory in the future, just not right now. Moxley is just celebrating, and it's just like, okay, this is where it's going to be pretty awesome. He's getting momentum against Jericho. Jericho and the Inner Circle, they decide, we're going to do a little Shield deal. We're just going to circle around him, make him feel a little paranoid, but just taunt him because we can. Because we're dicks. That's how I know that the Inner Circle and Chris Jericho are the best in the world at what they do. And that's being dicks. Enough said. By me, at least.
Yeah, totally. Each of them are, especially Guarva. I mean, he's got to me, he's like the Randy Orton of that group, of like, Evolution, the Blue Chipper, the young prospect, and Chris Jericho is like Triple H, which is kind of ironic given the Chris Jericho Triple H feud in 2000, which I kind of see his match with Jungle Boy kind of being like the faux finish like Jericho had against Hunter in 2000. I can see it going over like that, and Jungle Boy gets a phantom win of some kind. But I love that Mox is his next feud. I think it was inevitable. It had to be Moxley, and that that's the guy that's going to take the title off of Le Champion. When is it going to be? I don't know. I don't care. I just want to see Moxley with that title, and then if I can fantasy book ahead of that, MJF, and then Cody, because they're going to find a loophole in that. You're never going to face the champion again. Yeah, how many times did Ric Flair have that gimmick? I'm loving it. I was I drifted in and out. I think I was probably half asleep during this match, but man, Janela's. I'm going to steal a term from Ric Flair here, and it's terrible. People call him a glorified stuntman. I can see how people say that, but take away the weapons. He's not a bad worker, but selfishly, I love seeing him in these death matches, especially that one he had with that Cracker Barrel one that he had this year.
Oh yeah, with Darby Allin and Jimmy Havoc. There we go.
Yes, that's it. I couldn't think of him. Thank you. Yeah, throw Moxley in there, and you get like I would like to see something along the lines of the Monsters Ball from early TNA.
Oh gosh, that'd be great.
But I'm talking like when they had like the first two with was it like Monty Brown, Abyss, Raven was in one. Jake the Snake Roberts was a special guest referee in one, and he was wasted. Where they would you go in like quote unquote solitary confinement for 24 hours, so you're a little bit more insane in the membrane, insane in the brain before you go out there. Yeah, do it.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, guys. So we're going to take one final commercial break, and then when we come back, it's that most wonderful time of the... Okay, it's not quite to that point yet, but we are getting close to the end of the year, which means that year-end awards are coming, especially if you watch the NXT deal. They've already got their stuff posted up. I've already put my votes in, and I'm very proud of that fact. I'm looking forward to when that year-end show happens. Also, as this is released, it is the day of the Wrestle Podcast Awards, so hopefully we get one victory. Like I said, I'm only asking for one. That's all I'm asking for. I'm looking forward to seeing what hijinks Mr. Ant has in mind, but we are going to be coming back with our own version of the year-end awards, as we call it, the Gamies. It's going to be a part one of a 4-part series, you guys, because honestly, so much to talk about throughout the year, and there's only so much time that we can do. We could probably do this in like a 3-hour show, but we want to keep it a little suspenseful. So bear with us. We will be right back, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi, I'm NateFNGreat. You know what's really fun, you guys, is just spending some time creating wrestling moments, whether it's being in the crowd, cutting promos, or just really kind of beating each other up with a chair or a trash can. Well, let's just say that there's a safer way to doing that without using an actual chair or a trash can. Go over to Great Minds Revolution Incorporated. My buddy Kurt has actually created a very safe and fun way to be a wrestling fan without the necessary lawsuits of basically beating each other up with real stuff. He has an inflatable chair that is really fun to just whack around, and it could also double as a little floaty for a pool. He also has the inflatable trash can, which, you guys, is really awesome because let's say maybe you don't want to use it for wrestling matches. You could use it at your barbecue, your next big tailgate party, whatever you could think of. Great Minds Revolution, Inc. They do a great job on making wrestling fun again. Proud friends of the Game Changer
This is your pool
podcast.
party captain, Randy Fitzsimmons, and you're listening to the Game Changer podcast. Pew pew!
Hey Nathan, it's Melina. I'm here with the pup-pups. I got to record them because they're just like, they're so adorable. I love them. So we're driving across the country, and I love you too. I love you too. He's all trying to get in your video. I love you, baby bear. So I wanted to say hi. I wish you nothing but the best all the time. And if I don't exactly remember where I met you and where you're from, I apologize. But I know I can tell you have a sweet heart. So I thank you for being such an angel and so sweet about everything. Especially me looking like I do right now. Please forgive that. But I wish you nothing but the best. When it comes to wrestling, I am so excited for you. I can never tell anybody, like, don't do it or do it. I just say, whatever your heart's desire is, if you want to wrestle, do it. If it makes you happy, do it. There's always going to be good and bad, no matter what you choose, and always prepare yourself for that. It'll test you, it'll break your heart, it'll make you question yourself, but you always have to remember, why am I doing this? What made me fall in love with it? And who am I if this is all gone? Always remember who you are, because you are, as long as you remember who you are now, then you'll never get lost. It'll never be a bad thing. You will never fail, because the reality in wrestling is there's no failing. I mean, titles and everything, it's not real. I've had to like tell people, like, you know, it doesn't even matter. Like, but if you know in your heart you did what you always dreamed of, and you did it to the best of your ability, and people loved or hated you, like you took people on that roller coaster ride, that is a purpose in wrestling. Like the number of titles and all this stuff, it's just not real. But when you make people smile and you make people boo, and you know, you make people look good and all this stuff, that's the beauty of wrestling. That's what I love when I wrestle. And so I'm excited for you to be able to fulfill that, to accomplish that. So I think that's remember who you are. There's going to be a lot of negativity. Just don't lose yourself and don't fall for all the negativity and clicks and all this craziness where it's kind of like, what is wrong with these people? Like, what? There's some crazy out there, but there's also lots of fun, lots of good-hearted people, lots of family waiting for you. So just, I'm excited for you. But again, like I have to stress, look out for the crazy, look out for the negativity, and push it aside. Don't think you know everything. Listen to what everybody has to say. Take it with a grain of salt, and you do you, okay? I'm sending you nothing but love, Nathan. I'm sorry I can't, talk to you more. I gotta get back on the road to drive, but I want to make sure you got your video. Love you.
Welcome back to the Game Changer Podcast, ladies and gentlemen, a part of Wrestle Addict Radio. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at addict_wrestle. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, myself at RealLifeInGame, and Mr. Fretz at the legendary JF. And guys, that was another great video that was created by Celeb VM. Definitely, if you're looking for something that could possibly put a smile on either your face or somebody else's face, definitely check out the lineup that they have for celebrities. They have wrestlers, they have actors, they have actresses, they have so many great people that you can basically get a personalized message from them sent to you or sent to a loved one. It is something very great. Now, I definitely need to talk about this because one thing that she kind of hit about the fact, of course, for those of you that don't know who that was Melina, who is as beautiful as can be. She mentioned a bit about wrestling, how, definitely take in, all the positives, don't lose yourself, stuff like that. So people are probably asking, why is she saying this kind of stuff? Well, I'm actually here to announce that come 2020, I am actually going to start training again to try and be a professional wrestler. Now, this is not a guarantee. This is not going to be one of those things where I'm saying, 2020 is going to be the year of NateFNGreat. No, this is me saying I'm going to try to get into training. I am hopefully going to be back on that road to hopefully become a professional wrestler again. Honestly, I'm not expecting myself to make it to WWE. I'll be thankful if I can make it to the indie scenes here in Wisconsin. It's just something I've been wanting to do and something I've been kind of pushing off for the time being, so I am looking forward to this. And honestly, for all of you guys that have supported me since day one that I have stepped here on this earth, I thank you for that. And for those of you that have been a support to me for, to infinity and beyond, I thank you for that. And hopefully you'll be here to support me when I go on to this next chapter. So definitely tune into that. And I'm also going to make this a little bit here. I am trying to actually get some other names into the Wisconsin area. I will tell you this right now, that a couple names that I've kind of talked to have been SoCal Val, Rosemary, Andrew Everett. I've also talked to, who's it? There was one other person that I had on my list here. Also Marty the Moth. I've talked to them, and there's a possibility. This is all I'm going to say. There's a possibility that we could see one, if not quite a few of them, coming to the state of Wisconsin in the year 2020. We will definitely see what happens. I'm not guaranteeing anything. I'm not promising anything. But I'm telling you, you might want to keep a lookout on the timeline because you never know who's going to appear at a local independent show. All right. Enough talking about me. Let's go into talking about the Gamies. So this was an idea that was brought up between me and Fretz. We thought it might be kind of cool to kind of discuss some of the highs and the lows of wrestling, stuff that has gone that should definitely be notarized, stuff that should be definitely highlighted, And I basically rounded it off to 16 different categories. And over the next few weeks, we will be discussing each one of those categories, and we will be announcing who we think is the winner of the category here. So let's not waste any time, you guys. Let's go right into the first category here. And it is a category in which words can definitely be stronger than actions. When you think about it, some people can just say one word. It could be, what? What? It could be a sentence of, finally, The Rock has come back to SmackDown. It could be something as lame as, no, yes, no, yes. Doesn't matter. It's something that stands out to you. So, guys, this is for quote of the year for 2019. So, I'll actually start off this one here. And in honesty, you guys, there's only one quote that kind of stands out above the rest. Reason why is because this is a guy who came back, and some people have said that maybe it was a waste. Some people have said that it was stupid. But to be honest, it was one of those things where he created more moments than none upon his return. And one moment in particular earned the quote of the year for me, and that is Dave Bautista with, "Give me what I want!" It is something that is just funny. It's just absolutely riveting. It's one of those things that everybody nowadays just continues to go back to because it was just, it's just great. It's just absolutely great. It was one of the first few things that started up kind of like this has probably been like a year of memes or a year of GIFs, and this is the one I think that really kind of took off in that. So that is my vote for quote of the year. Batista's "Give me what I want." And trust me when I say this, when it comes to this list, Batista's going to be making another go-around. But I'll just leave it at that. Mr. Fretz, did you have a quote of the year when it comes to 2019? Is there a quote that kind of stood out to you this year?
Absolutely, and there's only one for me, and it's all you have like it's something to do with it's Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, and it's I forget exactly how it goes, but it's like the expanded version of "Let Me In." It's it's like Fireflies. All you Fireflies have to do is light the way. All you have to do is let me in.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, from the Firefly Funhouse, and just I was actually trying to find it here on 5 Bray Wyatt codes. Okay, mandatory.com. You're not going to give me much of anything, but just anything that came out of Bray Wyatt's mouth, whether it was letting him in, let me in, or light the way, and just all his Mr. Rogers-esque quotes have just been dynamite. And I'm looking at all these Bray Wyatt quotes that I'm seeing on here are from 2014, 2013. Yeah, that's an old website. It's the variant of that. It's basically let me in.
I can't disagree with that. It's pretty good. All right, so the next category that we have here for great moment of the year actually is not going to be more wrestling related. It's actually going to be something that's a bit more personal to us here at the Wrestle Addict Radio deal. We're calling it the Wrestle Addict Radio moment of the year. So there was obviously a lot of moments that stood the test of time and will definitely continue us into the year 2020. But when it came down to it, what I thought was the Wrestle Addict Radio moment of the year was the final episode of Rant with Ant. These four individuals, I should definitely say, Anthony, Phil, MJ, Issa, they laid the foundation for what Wrestle Addict Radio would come to be. And to hear this deal where we say our goodbyes and we give them the send-off that they deserve. And for them to just talk about the years of, traveling, the years of working together on a podcast, how they got into podcasting, everything like this. it was one of those moments that was just so hard to choose against. I mean, I could have made a selfish decision and say, oh, when me and Mr. Fretz, when we came on the Wrestletic Radio deal, could have went down that route. But it wasn't as sentimental as this final episode, and it didn't hit the heart more than this episode here. And it's still one of those episodes that we go back to, that we enjoy listening to, because, again, it's one of those foundations that reminds us of where we came from. And even nowadays, we can't forget that, because every single time we get a chance to, we'll always say to Anthony, we'll always say to Ant, thank you for giving us the chance. Thank you for giving us the ball, and we hope we're doing you proud. And honestly, he's been one of those guys who will always tell us, if we're doing something right, if we're doing something wrong. And honestly, I know that he's very proud of what we've done here at Wrestletic Radio. And I'm very sure that he is listening with just a big smile on his face. So, again, we'll play this until the cows come home. Anthony, Philium, MJ, Issa, thank you. Thank you guys for giving us the groundwork. Thank you guys for laying the foundation, and I hope that we are doing your legacy proud.
And big time shout out to G-Rod and Giacobi as well. They had just as big of an impact as they all did. I have a habit of getting into things close to the end of its cycle. Like every console I've ever bought has been near the end of its life cycle in games, and it's one of those podcasts I randomly found. It was through Kings of the Rings, so I'm eternally grateful to them for getting me into Rant with Ant in the first place. I believe it was WrestleMania 34 or 5, somewhere in there. It's a blur. I can't remember exactly when, but they did a live show. New Orleans. They did a live show with Ant, and I'm just like, who's this guy? This guy seems cool. Already being established as a fan of Kings of the Rings. It's Ant, absolutely. That last episode with everyone giving their thanks, from you to me to Mr. Giacobi to Joshy Lopez, everybody. And I love that we still keep in touch for the most part. That we still have our Twitter group chats, and we have the Rant, whose podcast is absolutely killing it. Like Kyle and Brad are funny. I mean, selfishly, I miss Rant with Ant. I miss them podcasting, but they're living their best lives, and it's awesome. And I'm eternally grateful to them for giving me a spot. I mean, this time last year, I was just thinking about, hey, I'm going to try a podcast, and I'm going to call it Fretzalmania, because that was the name of my blog. And now here I am, full circle, take a shot a year later, and we're joining the network that he founded. I mean, it's amazing. And I love you, brother. Thank you. Get well soon. I know exactly how Pad Packs feel. I'm going through it right now, but yeah, it's Rant with Ant's episode. If there was if it wasn't for that, the moment of the year, well, the Kings of the Rings would have to be, but for different reasons. We won't go there because it was sad.
No, I definitely do agree with you there. Did you have a different Wrestletic Radio moment of the year, or was that kind of just,
I'm jumping off of yours. I didn't want to pick my own of us joining the network. I didn't want to be that guy, even though I'll put us over any day of the week. I just thought, you know what, the Rant with Ant thing's gotta be up there. I gotta put myself second.
Hey, honestly, we are two of the same. We're cut from the same cloth, as they say. So the next category here which might be a bit of an interesting one. And this was one that was actually kind of tough for me because I really had to figure out, some of the things here. Social media has definitely been an impact, especially when it comes to making decisions on when it comes to wrestling. Do we, continue watching it? Do we not continue watching it? Who are the people that are your friends? Who are the people that are toxic? Who are the ones that are going to be there for you when you need it? And who are going to be the ones that are just there for that, walk of fame? This is going to be for Tweet of the Year, ladies and gentlemen. So this be a bit of an interesting one. I kind of cheated with this one because here's the thing about it, is that I could go through my entire Twitter line and I could probably find one that's like, oh, this is a really good one, oh, this is a really good one, this is a good one. So instead, I thought to myself, what was something that kind of stood out to me when it came to social media? And I could have picked, it could have been that person that picks the random, person that's being a stupid idiot, or I could have picked somebody who really spoke to me on that. I went with a bit of a cheap route here, and I went with one that was MJF related. A lot of the things that he's been doing on social media has just been pure gold, and it is very hard to disagree with that. As far as Tweet of the Year, I think any time that he does videos with fans, and yes, I am picking out the one that he basically roasted me out as one in particular, but also there was another one that where he was talking to one of my friends, Maria, and he basically said, you're paying half price to see me, you're only going to get half a photo of me, and literally that's her Facebook, her Twitter profile page right now, picture right now, is just her, and then just half of MJF. It's literally that, just because she decided to go cheap on her. So anytime I see MJF doing this deal where he's interacting with fans, saying they're stinky, or that they're fat, or they're just, it's just hard for me to really kind of, to kind of hate that. Even just like simple tweets where he just says, shut up to somebody, or he just says, F off, or something like that. It's just really hard for me to choose against that. So, I can't pick one tweet of the year because MJF has so many that are just so hard to choose against.
Yeah, I honestly can't pick a tweet of the year here. It's I was actually going back and to see if I can find something good in the old tip of the crowns that the Kings used to do. I came across one that I'm going to put over here, and it's from our good brother Mance.
Okay.
And it says that Roman Reigns has a better record against cancer than he does against Brock Lesnar.
Oh man, that's, whoo, boy, that's a good one. That is a good one.
Yeah, if I had more time to think about it, I would have gone back. There's a whole bunch. I'm going through a bunch of my feed right now. There's a guy, I think he's from Spain or something, Piero something. His display picture is always like a weird animated face. There's Charlotte. Yeah, I'm not going to go start scrolling through here through the on airtime, but yeah, anything I think that would have been in Tip of the Crown, which honestly I missed that. But when Dusty Dave left the show, I think it left along with it. Guys, you're welcome for that segment name, by the way. Royalties, please. I would have picked something out of Tip of the Crown, so I'll go for that, and I'll go for just about literally anything MJF does.
Yeah, fair enough. So there's the best of times, and then there's the worst of times, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to hit the tip of the iceberg here with this final category for this week, which is going to not just pick, worst of a month, but okay, it essentially is. It essentially is. So there's always going to be events that you're really going to be like, kind of pish-posh about. And there's some events where you're just going to be like, why did I pay money to see this? So this is going to be for worst event of the year. And I'm going to tell you this right now. It's not going to be an AEW event. Is it going to be an Impact event? Well, no. Is it going to be a WWE event? How'd you get so smart? So This was kind of a bit tougher for me because at first, I even have this written down. I looked at this and I thought I have a StarCast 2019, the WWE Network version, as well as the Shield Final Chapter. And I'm thinking to myself, that doesn't really seem too fair because they had some dark matches and people probably got to see some really good stuff. So maybe that's not the fair thing to do. If I had to pick like one event out of this year that was just absolutely rancid, just absolutely horrible, that made everything just piss me off so much, honestly, it could have been Super Showdown. And honestly, with the main event that it had, it was going to be. But then this event happened, and it pissed me off even more. My pick for worst event of the year is 2019's Hell in a Cell. Now, granted, it does have a couple of good matches on here. The problem here is they got overshadowed by the BS of the main event, which is why it makes it the worst. When you have The Fiend challenging Seth Rollins for the Universal title in a Hell in a Cell match where literally anything goes, and you end it in a referee stoppage or some stupid reason, it just takes away from a lot of things. So that was dumb. There were, I'm sure, other things that were pretty dumb about this event, but that was the one thing that was the straw that hit the camel's back. So as much as, we could say Super Showdown was bad, when you have a main event that ends in that way, and fans were shitting on it, even to this day, that tells you that you royally fucked up. So my pick for this year was Hell in a Cell 2019.
My pick, Super Showdown.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at the card here. I'm thinking like this. Okay, Rollins and Corbin can put on a good match. Balor and Andre should put on a good match. And then you had Shane McMahon. Defeating Roman Reigns. Why? The lesser said about Taker and Goldberg, the better. I mean, Mance did a watch-along of it on Gift of Podcast this week. That poor guy. And I have one reason that I picked this, because it's kind of selfish, but I was at that event cost me the opportunity to meet The Undertaker at Comic-Con this year. He was initially slotted for Saturday to appear on the Saturday, which I think would have been the day of the, I'm looking at no, it was June 7th, and he was slated to appear at the Comic-Con June 8th on the Saturday. I prepaid for my ticket, non-refundable. Luckily, I sold it. I slashed them almost in half. Like, I want rid of them. I want someone to get the opportunity that I just lost. So I was pissed about that. But then the whole show was a house show. I mean, what was the one that just happened a couple of weeks ago? It was actually good.
Oh,
the most recent Saudi show.
Yeah, the Crown Jewel one.
It was actually watchable. I mean, it was an episode of Raw, but it was watchable. And what saved it for me was the Fiend winning the title, which is why I didn't initially pick Hell in a Cell, because it eventually had payoff. The ending was fucking stupid. It was dumb as hell, and you can't teach that. But what you can teach is, well, getting back into a corner and redeeming yourself. Super Showdown was my pick for worst of the year, by bar none. Taker Goldberg, I know it was accidental. I know this whole thing is blown out of proportion, and Goldberg redeemed himself by having an entertaining but short contest with Dolph Ziggler, but just something went off in this match. I don't know if it was jet lag or fatigue or just a botch. Yeah.
Yeah. Nope, I definitely will agree with you there. You know what? I'm feeling a bit generous right now. Let's do one more category. So we're going to go from worst event of the year to worst moment of the year. Obviously in wrestling, there are some moments that you've literally wanted to just rewatch over and over again because you enjoy it. There's some moments that you kind of watch, you're like, once enough, that's good. Then there's those moments that you want to watch again just to be thinking to yourself, did that really just happen? And, there's so many examples. For the last few years, we've had the horrible realization of the Bayley This Is Your Life, Lashley sisters. Literally every single time that Baron Corbin decides to open his mouth. Salty Nate, I apologize. So, what were some of the worst moments of this year? Well, I had two that really stood out to me. One of which is painfully obvious, and the other one is one that we wish we never had. I'm going to go with the first one, with the wish we never had, because all throughout the year, we had to hear the same thing over and over again. And literally took the Canadian, thankfully, to get rid of this. Shane McMahon doing his heel, best in the world shtick, got annoying and more annoying and more annoying to the point where it is literally like, just please, somebody please, give me a rope, please. Just give me a rope. I need something to just numb this pain. And it was, like I said, it wasn't until a Canadian saved the day that I was like, thank you. The pain is over. Thank you. It sucked. But if I had to pick one that stood out from this year that was really stupid or was by far the worst, where I even just combined everything with this, were the cheating storylines. So that is two different storylines we have here. The Maria and Mike Bennett one, as well as the Lana and Lashley one. Basically the same thing. And why are they there? No reason. Trying to create drama? Sure. Do they need to happen? Nope. But why? Because Mike Bennett is amazing. He's great in the ring. He was the Miracle in TNA. He was absolutely great, and he probably could have done some more stuff with Maria, which would have been great. I even did like a rebooking storyline for him. Rusev, one of the most over guys on the main roster in his first year. What do you have him do after that? After he had lost his undefeated streak, he lost his U.S. title. You have him do this deal where his manager goes off with Dolph Ziggler, and then he hooks up with this relatively same blonde of Summer. And then, TMZ broke this news out. They're getting back together again. And then as punishment, you have Rusev lose again, and again, and again, and again. Rusev Day. Hey, this could be an awesome opportunity for him. He keeps losing again, and again, and again. Hey, we're going to give him a United States title deal with Nakamura. Hey, there's some build-up to this. Hey, he beats Nakamura. Hooray, we get to see Rusev Day. He loses to Nakamura. That's okay. We'll get like a rematch or something. That's fine. He loses to R-Truth, who won the title off of Nakamura because of a botch, quote-unquote. What? Why? He comes back. He's the baby daddy of Maria. What? Why? He comes, and he's got his wife is basically cheating on him with Lashley. Reason? I'm so glad we got this category out of the way, because this is just getting stupider and stupider and stupider. And I will say this right now, I don't watch Raw anymore, but I saw the video where they did this deal where the guy's like, oh, well, we know that you have a restraining order against your husband. We do things differently here in a different state. Oh, you touched me. You're arrested. Oh, you slapped me in the face, lady. You're getting arrested. Blah, 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 blah. This is why I don't watch Raw anymore. Stupid. Take me to the kiln, please. I don't want this in my world anymore. Just please stop the pain. Make it stop. Do you have anything that can top that?
Yep.
Oh, damn it.
And it's something that only took 8 seconds, and it wasn't me last night. I mean, Brock Lesnar beat Kofi Kingston in 8 seconds.
Oh, God.
That takes the cake for me. Worse than the stupid love, cuck, whatever storylines. And then Kofi's just like being no-selling it on TV, basically, like nothing happened. And Brock Lesnar is somewhere in Manitoba on his farm with Sable and his kids, just sitting there on rocking back and forth on his front porch farm with a title sitting on him. Yeah, Brock beats Kofi. That's the worst moment of the year.
Yeah, that's a tough one to top. That's rough. But Fretz, you could argue that Cain Velasquez got shut up. I'm telling you on behalf of Fretz, shut up. We all know what happened with that match. Just delete. Yeah, so far this has been a bit of a bittersweet year-end deal. But we still got a couple more weeks for you guys to enjoy our quote-unquote pain and misery, as well as the joyousness that is all the great stuff that happened throughout this year. But we're not going to spoil too much because we don't want to spoil you guys too much of that. So with that, I think we're going to call this an episode. So, like I said before, if you do enjoy this episode, be sure to check us out on so many great podcasting networks, including Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, as well as iHeartRadio, as well as some Google Podcasts, you name it, we're basically there. And hey, if you enjoy us, rambling and raving, you should also check us out on our Twitter, either at @addict_wrestle, where you can listen into so many other great podcasts, such as the Gifted Podcast, Not Your Mama's Soap Bumper Podcast, the Kings of the Rings, the Fourth World WrestleCast, as well as us here at the Game Changer Podcast. Or you can personally follow me on Twitter at RealFNGame, as well as follow Mr. Fretz on his Twitter at the Legendary JF. And you can tell us personally why you think that Brock Lesnar and Kofi Kingston match was best for business. And we'll tell you, you were wrong. Does that sound fair? Okay. So for Mr. Fretz, I've been NateFNGreat. Thank you guys so much for listening in. And we'll talk to you guys in the next episode. Hopefully, not as salty, but hopefully we will be glorious and victorious at the Wrestling Podcast Awards. So guys, be sure to tune into that. And we'll talk to you guys in the next episode. Peace. I hate you.
Legs are tied, these hands are broken. Alone I try, with words unspoken. Silent cry, a breath is frozen. With blinded eyes, I fear myself. It's burning down, it's burning high. When ashes fall, the legends rise. We burn it out, a mile wide. When ashes fall, the legends rise. Throat is dry.